Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. I work predominantly with avoidant individuals. Most of my patients are avoidant. And today I wanted to go over the subtle and secret ways that avoidants show love. It's not really a secret to them, but sometimes they don't even realize it themselves. But the other reason why I kind of use the word secret is because a lot of individuals do not know this, like people who are partners of the avoidant individual. And I think this is helpful because then you will realize you're actually loved. You don't understand that you are, and it's not translating to you, but it'll help you to determine whether this relationship is worth it for you or not. And if love is really something that you're looking for, you might have it, okay? I work with both dismissive and fearful avoidance. So when I am touching on these topics, I will tell you if it's more common with dismissive or fearful. However, before we jump in, one more disclaimer. A lot of the fearful avoidants I work with particularly lean pretty strongly dismissive, so some of these might not really fit with some fearful avoidants who are leaning very anxious, okay? So the very first one, and this one is much more common with dismissive avoidance, it is teaching you and guiding you, okay? So avoidants express love typically in an indirect way. It reduces the chance for them to feel vulnerable, feel rejected, and kind of bump into a lot of their wounds, but they still love you. So they want to show you that for their own expression, for their own comfort, for their own resolve. And so teaching you and guiding you is a really good way for them to do that because they're opening up to you indirectly, right? They're teaching you something that they learned themselves. They're sharing wisdom. They're offering guidance. They're helping you grow. That's a really common one too. And they often do it in examples more than words, but you'll see a combination as well. So let's go ahead and give an example. Let's say an avoidant individual, dismissive avoidant, let's just say that's the example. A dismissive avoidant individual has been recently on a weight loss journey. So that's kind of the background, okay? And their partner has been wanting to lose some weight. And if weight is triggering, you can skip this part, but this is just an example, right? Nothing against anybody's direction. And their partner is wanting to lose weight. They're struggling to lose weight. And maybe they ask their partner a little bit, I'm struggling in this way. I've noticed you've had some success. Can you tell me what's going on? Or maybe they're just saying, I've noticed you had some success. And the avoidant may subtly mention, yeah, I've been doing X, Y, and Z. And then they might start rambling about all the research they've been doing, or maybe they have a training certificate or whatever it is, and they're really opening up their knowledge to you in a way where they're indirectly saying, I want to give you this knowledge because I want to help you grow and I care about you and I want you to be happy, right? Another example could be they are sharing their wisdom about something that you don't even care about. I'm just being honest. Like, let's say they like to, they like to play pool, right? So pool has a lot of strategy. There's a lot of different positions. It also is dependent on if you're left-handed or right-handed, what position you have to put your body and everything of that nature, right? And I don't play that much, so forgive me. I play very little. But this example will be that they will explain those types of things, different hand positions, different ways to set up, different types of game, right? There's different ways, like, what is it called? 9-ball, 8-ball. There are different, and they might even open up what they like about it. So they're going to tell you about these details. They may teach you and offer guidance, especially if you show interest. This is one way that they very much show somebody they love them. It's a very special thing for them because it makes them also feel like you're admiring them. And so they feel that admiration and they feel very close to you because they're able to open up about truly what they love in life. Like they're giving that to you. And it helps them to do that in a way where it's not like if they reach out and kiss you that you can reject them, right? It's not like they can say, I love you so much and I hope you never leave me. And then 2 years later you leave them, right? They don't have to feel that. They can just give you a little parts of their heart. And there's not really an opportunity for you to say, anything completely directly that you're going to leave them. It's not very likely in this scenario, which is why a lot of avoidants do this, especially dismissive avoidance, okay? The next one is private moments of affection. Both types of avoidants do this, but I would say fearful a little bit more. And the reason why is avoidants may not really show affection in public. Part of the reason is because they literally are embarrassed. They might think it's, they may think it's silly. They don't want people to judge them. Maybe it'll make them look vulnerable or maybe a little too soft. And so they don't like that feeling. But what ends up happening is they may express overly tenderness or touch or appreciation behind closed doors. Fearful avoidants, you can see this dynamic a lot more obvious because fearful avoidants are more comfortable with affection than dismissive avoidants. Dismissive avoidants, you will see that, but it's probably not going to be as obvious or as strong to where you're like almost questioning it, right? With fearful avoidants, it's almost like, wow, you're really loving when we're alone, but like you're not when we're in public. Are you like ashamed of me? Are you trying to hide me? Like some of those negative thoughts may come up more so with fearful avoidant if your partner's fearful avoidant, but that's not really what it is at all. They're just embarrassed with the affection. Also with both dismissive and fearful, they are thinking somewhere in their subconscious, but sometimes even consciously, like, what if they reach out to you and like they hug you and kiss you in public and you like move away or reject them and like people see that? That's going to really hurt them because then it's more highlighted in their mind that this happened, right? If you did that privately, they can bottle it up and ignore it. It's not as prominent. But if somebody else has a reaction, it engraves that in their mind. They remember it. So they remember the reaction and the rejection. And that's hard for them. And so that's something important to remember. Avoidant individuals are very guarded. Both fearful and dismissive are really, really afraid to look like a fool, look like they don't know what they're doing. When they're rejected, it makes them feel like, did I make a mistake? Is this, not the person for me? Am I not like fearful avoidance? They may say like, I knew it. Like I really am not lovable. Dismissive avoidance might think, I am really bad at this. What am I even doing here? And so you're starting to see that they're trying to mitigate their fears. They're trying to manage those fears, but still they want to give you affection because it makes them feel fulfilled. And so this is a very strong sign that they really do love you. And it's hard for people who are in relationships with avoidance to take some of these small hints because they do have expectations that love should look a different way, and that's okay. But at the same time, if you are in a relationship and you really do want it to work out, knowing these things are very important to make this relationship move forward. And the next one, which I also think a lot of people do not understand this, is avoidant individuals, they respect your boundaries and your autonomy. Now, I think this is very important to kind of realize why this happens. Avoidant individuals, autonomy and respect boundaries, this is something they value. So this is something they love. So they're giving you something that they love because they want you to have it. So a lot of individuals, let's say you like gifts. I notice this with a lot of individuals, like in my practice, I'll have one partner, let's say anxious preoccupied, and the other one is dismissive avoidant. Let's say the anxious preoccupied is a female. By the way, not all anxious preoccupied are female. I think y'all know that, okay? So let's say she loves compliments. She likes compliments. She will compliment her partner a lot, and he won't reciprocate it because it's just rolling off his back. The dismissive avoidant doesn't need compliments as much. And so, but she's giving that because she loves him and she wants him to feel loved and to feel the love she feels when she's given that. So on the flip side, he may give her autonomy, may respect her boundaries because he feels loved when somebody allows him to be that way. And so he's giving you that. It's a profound form of love, truly, because they respect independence of others and they don't want to control or smother people. Typically, some avoidants do struggle with control, and we may talk about that in another video. But in general, they want you to feel loved the way they feel loved. So it is that they're showing you they love you, right? Just like a lot of y'all, if you give compliments or give a gift to somebody and it's a romantic interest and you've been with them for a long time, it's probably because you love them. Am I correct? Same thing. If avoidants are doing this, it's because they love you. This one's more common with dismissive avoidance, by the way, but it does happen with fearful as well. The next one is listening and being present to you. Much more common with fearful avoidance. I'll explain how it's different for fearful and dismissive in a little bit, but let's first elaborate on this one. Even if they don't say much, they will listen to you inherently, and they're present. They're not on their phone typically, because being present is what matters the most. It kind of shows you how much you matter, and often the reason why, very similar to the first one, avoidant individuals, they actually really like to be listened to, and they don't like to be interrupted, more so with fearful avoidance. And so they're giving you that as well. But sometimes fearful avoidance, they're just listening. They're getting lost into the conversation. They don't know what to say, but they still are loving the moment. They're feeling much more present. And sometimes it's a sense of safety, just being there, relaxing, being with you. Dismissive avoidants, however, they do this sometimes, but I have brought this up in a couple videos before. Dismissive avoidants, sometimes when they open up and they're falling in love, they sometimes can become very talkative and they may dominate the conversation and sometimes talk over you. And if that's happening, it is a sign they love you, but it's something to kind of, bring up at one point if it bothers you, and so they can reel it in because they don't really realize they're doing it. A lot of dismissive avoidants, they didn't pick up the same social skills because they don't connect it with people as often. So sometimes they don't recognize what it looks like, if that makes sense, okay? The next one is protectiveness. Now, this is common for both fearful and dismissive. They often prioritize your safety, your well-being. Sometimes it's from a physical point, right? It's not always emotional protectiveness, but it's kind of like making sure you're not walking on the, side of the road where the cars are. Let's say you guys are walking on the sidewalk. They prefer you not where the cars are, right? They may open the door for you because they feel like it'll make your life easier. They may be worried about you if you get a cold, right? They may tell you to drink water before you guys go work out together. Something like that. It shows the protectiveness and priority. Sometimes people can take this a little bit, like it could be a little misunderstood because dismissive avoidance especially, but fearful avoidants do this too. They may be protective of maybe what you're wearing or what you're doing. They may say make sure you're wearing a jacket because I know your shirt's a little lower cut. And they're not saying it because they don't trust you. They're saying, I'm afraid someone's going to try to do something to you that makes you uncomfortable. So before you react and think, oh, my partner is trying to control me, they're trying to hurt me, maybe you can reevaluate and see, are they trying to stop you or are they just trying to protect you? You can even ask them. That's one thing to keep in mind. The next one is showing some sort of acts of service rather than grand romantic gestures. They want to be helpful to you. They want to do it in a way, typically physical needs, right? In terms of something more tangible. They may fix something in your house. They may offer support to your problems, right? They may quietly take care of certain things. I have one case that I'm thinking about, but this is in general, so it's not like I'm giving information away. But fearful avoidant female, let's just say anxious, preoccupied male. She knows that he works and sometimes he doesn't have a lunch break. Like maybe he doesn't take his lunch break, whatever the reason is. So what she likes to do is she likes to pack really easy, quick meals, but she also buys him cereal bars and keeps chips in his car. She's doing this not even really because you asked. She's doing it because it makes her feel like her love is being translated to you. She wants to make sure you're okay. Another example could be somebody, fixing your car or getting an oil change, not fixing the car, even though maybe, right? Getting your oil change for you just because you asked, picking you up from surgery. It's really not something that they usually have a fuss about. And this is just the way they show it. It's a lot easier for them. It's the way they're familiar. And you'll also notice avoidants do this with their parents a lot and their siblings, right? So this is how they showed love with their parents because unfortunately in their childhood, emotions were not valued for them, but how they are useful is. So you might see some avoidants where they give their parents money and they have nothing against that. They can give their parents $1,000 and they don't have anything. They feel like that's their duty sometimes. And so this is something that you may notice just in general, a little bit of a tangent. If you're in a long-term relationship with an avoidant, that's more common with dismissive, by the way. You will see that they're giving their parents and other family members a lot of their time too in terms of this. It's something you may want to have a conversation about because these boundaries may not necessarily be helpful, but in their mind, that's how they show love. Instead of a phone call to their mom or, sending a text to their dad, they're thinking, okay, I'm going to give this because, I'm worried about my dad, or I'm going to drive to my dad's house and, put salt on the driveway to make sure, after it snows or whatever the situation is. They do these things and you may sometimes run into this issue and it's something to keep in mind, just a little random. The next one is consistency and reliability. Actually, avoidants, when they do love you, they are quite consistent. They do show up, they follow through with their promises and they open up. They're honest with you, right? If I can't do this, they're not going to say it, right? But if they are and they feel strongly that they're going to give you that, they're going to be open about it. They're going to be consistent. Examples could be, I always give this example, but it's really common. They text you back quickly. Dismissive avoidance, some of them are just like that. Like they don't really talk to much people and they give their attention to those who really matter. And if that's you, which it probably is, they're going to respond to you really quickly. Not all avoidants are like this. I made a couple of videos about different texting habits, so you guys can check that out. But avoidant individuals, they're going to show up. They will not cancel on you. Once you guys, like canceling happens in the first year or two, but after that, it like never happens. And they make sure of that because they want you to feel stable and they want to show that I'm a dependable person. The next one is similar in that extent. Loyal. Loyalty, a lot of avoidance, especially dismissive avoidance, value loyalty in their relationship, in their self, and most avoidants actually have a very deep and safe love that's unwavering. And they show this through long-term commitment and standing by their partner or loved ones. Loyalty is common with avoidance. And a lot of you guys might not think it is, but it truly is. And so it's something to recognize. If your partner is struggling with loyalty, attachment issue or not, that might be something to have a conversation with, because a lot of avoidance can be loyal easily. Like it's not even a fight. It's natural. It happens like day one when you guys are talking. And so I think it's really important to recognize, okay? The next one is sacrifice and comfort. Now, a lot of people might not like how this is worded, but typically that's how avoidants actually feel. Both fearful and dismissive avoidance actually do this. So what it is like they may give up time that they had designated for something else. And they give that up and give that to you or the relationship, right? And they make these silent sacrifices out of love. And it's not that they don't expect recognition, but they just don't think it's going to happen. So actually, for you to make them feel loved is to recognize these things, by the way. But they do this, sometimes they don't want to, but they do it because their want to make you happy and feel secure in the relationship is more valuable to them than their current comfort, right? So a lot of dismissive avoidance and fearful avoidance, but more common with dismissive. Before bed, they just don't want to talk to anybody and they want to unwind. It helps them sleep. Fearful avoidants have a little bit of sleep issues in general, so sometimes they might want a phone call before bed, so it's a little different. But what happens is, let's say you're, being upset about something normal and you're feeling bad before bed. Maybe they wanted to take that time to really decompress, but they realize that you're feeling, really bad. So they called you and they said, hey, let's talk it out. That is a sign they love you. They sacrificed their own comfort, but they made that choice. So let them sacrifice it because that's what makes them happy. Now, this one happens, the next one, number 10, this happens for both fearful and dismissive, and it happens deeper in the relationship. So it's not going to happen like 2 or 3 years. It's going to happen probably after that point, and they do what you ask of them. Like, it's not uncommon. Once the avoidant trusts you, they basically believe that you're going to respect their boundaries. And so they don't have an issue with doing what you're asking. And sometimes it's like almost immediate. You might say, I noticed that you're a little detached today. Is there something on your mind? They'll say, I had a stressful day at work, but, thank you for bringing that to me. Or they might just say, I had a stressful day at work, but literally immediately, maybe you didn't even ask, but you kind of brought it to them. They will start giving you more attention. They will start kissing you or hugging you more, put their hand on you. It's not extreme, but it's a little bit, it's still obvious. And they're doing it just because they want to show you, I am committed. I am here. I know that sometimes my mind gets pulled away by different stressors, but I don't want that to ruin our moment together. So let me get my situation in my mind organized and let me give you what I want you to have. And so this is not meaning that they're doing it because of resentment or bitterness. No, let them operate. A lot of dismissive avoidance, they operate like this, and fearful avoidance as well, but more common with dismissive by a little bit. I would say both of them do it actually. The next one is, this one is more common with fearful avoidance, actually probably by far, but dismissive avoidants do it too. They're more comfortable with expressing their negative feelings without pushing you away. Okay, I think this one might need a little bit more of a description, maybe an example, okay? So a lot of dismissive avoidance and fearful avoidance in general, they are generally, just being honest, moody people. They're just moody, and certain things set them off that has nothing to do with you. And avoidants know that. You guys know. Like I feel that. Like it's not a bad thing. It can be a good thing, but it's that they feel quite strongly for a lot of different things, and they need to manage it in their own way. What ends up happening is a lot of times, especially fearful avoidance, they need to retreat to manage this moodiness, right? But what you're seeing is now they're not retreating anymore. They're being moody while you're still there, but they're not detaching communication from you, okay? So let's say we have a fearful avoidant. Let's say it's a fearful avoidant female, and she's had a really not so good phone call with her dad, who is maybe his own, issue, right? And they don't have a good relationship. And she's frustrated and annoyed. She doesn't feel good about it. And she's moody, and maybe she didn't have a good day at work. So now there's all these things adding up. But you guys are supposed to have a movie night together at home, right? And so you come in and she's moody. And she tells you, hey, I'm moody. Don't worry about it. But she's still affectionate. She still kisses you. She still greets you to the door. She still brings you some snacks. She still lays, her head on your shoulder while you guys are watching TV. She's moody, but she's not pulling away from you. The affection and love is still there. This is a very good sign. But because secure people, they do this. They're not as moody as avoidance, of course. But secure individuals, they're okay with having emotions, and they're okay with the fluidity of life, right? It's not like they're just hiding their moodiness, or their moodiness is so overwhelming they push you away. They can integrate the two in the same space, and you're seeing that happen. It's a sign they love you. It's a sign they want this relationship to work. It's a sign that they're comfortable with you. Does that make sense? And the very last one, this is much more common with fearful avoidance as well, but it does happen with dismissive avoidance. And this is pretty significant, especially for fearful avoidance, is they relax with you or lay on you, whatever it is, or watch TV with you without talking. And sometimes if it's a fearful avoidant, you might not be even watching TV. You might be literally laying in bed, and they're enjoying that moment. So fearful avoidants tend to cope less with hobbies than dismissive avoidance. So fearful avoidants, sometimes they need just peaceful, quiet time to do, not doing much, scrolling on their phone, or just laying there in their thoughts, not even having much thoughts, but just laying there and relaxing, feeling their own emotions and just kind of processing them. And by having you join them, they feel like you're a safe space to join them in their coping skill. So basically, you're not something they need to cope away from, right? You're something that they cope with. Like, you're part of that comfort. And so they have you. And dismissive avoidants do this as well, but some more with dismissive avoidance, they might have the TV on, or they might be scrolling on their phone, or they might be talking and just mumbling and falling asleep. That's more common with dismissive avoidance. So I hope this video was helpful. Please like, subscribe, share with somebody that you think this will help, and I will see you in the next one.